What up, good people? It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. Had to put on my Clark Kents for this, man. I'm setting up a new computer configuration, and the font is a bit tiny, so I'm adjusting it as we speak. Okay, so, as I mentioned, my first couple of readings for today, before I even get into my devotionals, are from recovery books because I work in the field of recovery. All right. So, reading just for today, which is my go-to, because Daily Reflections, which is AA, seems to be a bit, I don't want to say stale, static, stayed, whatever. Now, if I were attending a meeting, I had to critique meetings in order to get my license or certification. So if I had to choose meetings, however, I would go to AA because it seems to be a bit more structured for me, just in my observations. But the reading, I would choose NA because it's a bit more real lifey. Yes, I said lifey. It says, God's will or mine. We continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Personal inventory. We're good at taking other people's inventory. We're good at running other people's inventory. Why? Because we're trying to justify our position or our wrong. That's why we run other people's inventory. Or our insecurities, our need to heal. And then we get into comparison, and comparison is definitely from the devil. So we use that classic phrase, at least I'm not this, or at least I'm not that. So now we're looking to do damage and keeping people beneath us, if you will. This reading says, in Narcotics Anonymous, we found that the more we live in harmony with our higher power, with our higher power's will for us, the greater the harmony is in our lives. Amen to that. When you develop a connection with God, you become more compassionate and empathetic toward your fellow man because you begin to understand, the grace that you've been extended. So then you, in turn, can extend it to others. I mentioned that in the earlier video when I was talking about a video I posted and how somebody approached me. This reading says we use the 10th step to help us maintain that harmony. On a daily basis, we take time to look at our behavior. Do we? Somehow in life, some of us have gotten messages that we're of no value. Now, we may walk around with our chest puffed out, and we want to exclaim that, we're self-made, self-this, self-that. We're a brand. We got this going on. We got that going on. But behind all that is the not-so-great and wonderful Oz. If you remember the movie, it's like Oz was this magical, mystical power. His lights, flashes, smoke. And then when they tore back the curtain, it was this little, frail man, and that's who we are. Like I said, we walk around with an inflated sense of self, and, we're constantly advertising and promoting, but in reality, we see ourselves as unworthy and undeserving. So do you examine your behavior? Getting back to the original question. So, some of us measure each action with a very simple question: God's will or mine? Do you ask that question? And most of us will say God's will. And I'm going to tell you, no, it's not. Because if it was God's will, you would sit and be by yourself and seek God's will instead of making noise about who you are and what you're going to do and the moves that you're going to make and your blessings. Your blessings speak for themselves. Your blessings show to the world that you're in sync with God. You never once heard David say, I'm God's chosen. Even with all the mess and madness that followed David, you never heard him say, I'm God's chosen. People just knew he had favor on his life. You know, even when he was, lamenting the plight of his life based on his actions, he still knew he had favor because he praised in the mess, in the midst of it. I'll never forget these words when Robin Roberts, the newscaster, the reporter, when she was going through her cancer struggle in the very public eye, she chose to do that, to let the world know, this is beatable. She spoke of her folks, I believe in Louisiana, and she said her mother always told her, make your mess your message. And many of us are like cats in litter boxes trying to cover up our stuff. And when we should be announcing our stuff so the message goes forward to other people, just like they say in NA and AA. This message should go forward. And, I shared my mess at the end of August. And my message is God can and God will. Trust God. Amen. I just want to put that out there. So, for you folks who think you aren't in recovery, just allow yourself the time and the space to read the 12 steps, because they are principles for, a good life. I'm not going to say a perfect life. I'm not going to say a magical, mystical life where you don't get to experience good and bad. But I'm going to say when you develop a connection with God, you can dance and sing in the fire, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Amen and amen.